Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good afternoon and hello, kits and cubs. Oh boy, my hair is a mess. And welcome to season 5. And I believe it is, if I am not mistaken, episode number 842 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Oh, Canada, always 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Wednesday, February 4th, 2026, and it is a absolutely fabulous day here in Jalapa, Mexico. Good, sounds clear, looks good. Thank you, Kit Saucy, for letting me know. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and not with me as usual is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. Big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. Thank you for all of your continued support since we started this venture. Kits and cubs, how is your mental health today? Mine is doing pretty well, actually, for all intents and purposes. Apologies for the later starts today. My Beaver Sweetie and I had an activity planned for today. There is a beautiful waterfall here, but it's about an hour hike from where we are. And of course, 1 to 4 in the afternoon is particularly the hottest time of the day. So we wanted to try and get started early this morning in order to go do it. So we wanted to leave while it was still cool and be able to get back while it was still cool. Didn't quite work that way. We left while it was still cool. That wasn't a problem, but we kind of got lost along the way. So we ended up, it's a the rural area and like mountainous and rocks and whatnot, and so it's a bit of a hike. And some terrain that's, I guess, accidented. I'm not sure if that's an actual, if you can say that in English. I know it's in French, so I might be doing a false friend translation here in my head when I'm talking about but roots and rocks and stuff like that, and uphills and downhills and gravel and stuff of the like, and lots of horse and donkey road apples. Let's put it that way. To avoid. So, oh no, I see that somebody has a horrible toothache from cough. So I can't see who it was. I hope that you are, oh, that's Kit Saucy. I hope you'll feel better soon. And also, Kit Linda, glad to hear that your husband is doing well and recovering well. I read that in the chat before we started, and that brought me a lot of joy. But yes, okay, you could say we didn't get lost. We had an adventure. Now I can say we had an adventure. But we got lost. So we were off the give time rest. Manure for the Masses. Definitely not the title of the Depeche Mode album. Let's put it that way. Yeah, we there was a fence that had a sign that said the waterfall, the cascada, was this way, and we figured it wasn't on the other side of the fence because it seemed to be like, restricted access. So we followed the trail, and we ended up not only doing the trail walk, but we ended up doing a jungle walk. So we were in the actual jungle for a while, and at one point we did hear the water, and we got to the water, but it turns out we were at the top of the waterfall, not at the bottom of the waterfall. So we had to find our way again, and we did get there, and it was great. There was a lovely little area where you could actually swim. My beaver sweetie actually swam right to the waterfall and was able to get under it and get a water massage on his back. I tried to get there, and I'm a pretty good swimmer. I was a competitive swimmer for a while, but by the time we got there, I think my legs were tired, and I didn't have the power to push through to get to the falls. But we had a lovely little soak, and then we came back. While we were doing the jungle walk, I was a little concerned because, well, like I said, it's my first time here, so we don't know what creatures and animals could be there, right? And then you always have those dark thoughts. Oh, great, we're lost. And what happens if we can't find our way back? Now we're lost in the jungle. What when the sun goes down? Oh God, is this how I meet my end? No. But we did find our way back, and we got a lovely afternoon. Swam a little bit, came back. But as I said, that extra hour having that adventure, as Kitlinda says, made it such that I got home at the time that the show was supposed to start for you had I done a pre-record. So I crossed my paws and hoped that if I went live rather than doing a pre-record and make everybody wait yet another hour, that I would be able to hopefully that the connection would allow us to stream without interruption, and that I would be able to not, to do the show without having you have to wait, because I have asked you to wait enough today. Yes, exactly. Yes, Jumanji vibes, exactly. I actually had the thought, it's like if we come across with a jaguar or a mountain lion or something, I actually don't know what animals are here. What would I be able to grab to try and hit someone, like hit it directly on the snout or between the eyes with my one shot and hopefully make it run away? Exactly. When the sun goes down in the jungle, even more interesting creatures come out to play. So, but hey, all's well that ends well. You still have a beaver that is in one piece, and and we have a show for you today, kids and cubs. There's a lot of news. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get through it all because there's a lot of things that are connected to each other. But I will have to do a pre-record today for tomorrow, because tomorrow is the day we leave here and we have to be checked out by 11 a.m. And then we got to travel to Puerto Vallarta, take the water taxi, and then get from the pier where we are to Puerto Vallarta. So there's about a 3 or 4 hour trek maybe. So I'm going to try to do the pre-record for tomorrow's show today immediately after this, so it will air on time. So whatever I'm not able to handle in this hour will show up in the second hour tomorrow, because there is a lot of news here. We have news, well, first of all, the Olympics are starting today. So that's a big deal. We've got that happening. And then we have some news about some people leaving the Mark Carney government to pursue other opportunities. And we'll try to talk about that today as well. And there's some extra drama surrounding some of that. So maybe we'll save that for the show for tomorrow. But if I can fit it in, I will. And then, of course, we want to finish our coverage of what Pierre Poilièvre said in his speech that got him reconfirmed as the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, and some interesting polling data that has come out after that. That is more bad news for Pierre. So, did I giggle there when I said more bad news for Pierre? I'm so sorry. I'm petty. Actually, I'm not sorry. And kids and cubs, yes, I am actually not windswept. This is actually still wet from the swim and a little bit of sweat too. So I'm looking forward. I will very much be looking forward to a shower today, especially since we finally had the shower fixed. Yesterday was the first time I was actually able to have a shower since we left home. Well, not left home, since we left Toronto, because I did have a shower when we were in Toronto. Yeah, the first day that we were here, the water was scalding hot. You couldn't stand under it at all. And the next day, the shower heater was flashing an error code. So we had that fixed. And sometime late last night, we were able to get the water at a somewhat decent temperature. Not too scalding hot, even though it was really, really hot. And not too cold when it was going to cold, but somewhat tepid, that you could stand under it as it was cycling from hot to cold, hot to cold. If you picture moments, you could cycle into it and make sure that you get all the soap off you. So I was slightly grumpy Beaver for a couple of days because it's like, I stink and I'm sweaty and I look a mess. I don't like it. I am a tad bit vain. But we got a show and we have lots of content. So let's get through it and let's get started. I'll pick up where I left off yesterday. I was originally going to save the Pierre stuff for later and get through the more current news, but I want to make sure I get through the Pierre stuff. I wouldn't want it to go through to a third show, so I'll do this now. I'll change the order up a bit, make sure I clear that out, and then if there's any additional news that I wanted to put today, I will do it in the pre-record for tomorrow's show. And Kitlinda, yes, but my sweetie loves me anyway, and he does because he was stinky and sweaty too, because he couldn't shower either. Well, actually, he did make a go of it. He's a little more adaptable that way than I am. So let's put it that way. But they were very, 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 very quick ones. Okay, so yesterday, oh, there's my Beaver sweetie. You just saw him on camera. Welcome to the gun show. Get some cover. So yesterday, when we left off, we were talking about his speech that he gave before the vote took place. And we were at the part where he was talking, he had talked about, let me see what my notes here, they were handwritten. I was writing them fast as the speech was going on, so I might have a little trouble deciphering my own handwriting there. But he was stating that, yes, indeed, that the best part about being a conservative is that everyone eventually admits that they were right all along, which produced a lot of laughter here, where I was. And then he had talked about the only mention really that the United States got and all the pressure that they're putting on us in his speech was him saying unfair and untested US tariffs and diplomatic I don't actually read that word. Sorry. Yeah, diplomatic, let's say disruptions. I think that's what it was, from down south and other places. And that's about as specific as he got. That was the maximum condemnation of the Trump administration that we got from Pierre Poilièvre. Of course, as you know, according to polling, particularly from, I think it is ECOS polling, we frequently see that about 50% of conservative voters actually like what Donald Trump is doing. And there was another one that would indicate that anywhere from 20 to 40%, depending on how you formulate the question. Of course, how you formulate the question gets different answers, but there's, depending to certain questions about their attachment to Canada or something like that, there's a little less of it happening in Alberta, and most of them are Conservative voters. So at a red meat event, like a Conservative convention, especially when you're looking to have your leadership confirmed, especially a couple of days after you took a stand on Greenland, that a lot of people that support Trump didn't approve of and were very vocal about it. You probably don't want to go to your convention right before you ask people to vote for you and poke Trump in the eye or say something bad about Trump. So no mentions whatsoever in any of that. So interesting position for an opposition leader that keeps on saying you got to negotiate from a position of strength when he's not even able to say their name. Anyway, so that's where we were. And from that point on, he was getting a little more into a stump speech again and started pushing that Canadian Sovereignty Act that he has been trying to promote, which is kind of really silly because it's a plagiarized idea, obviously, from Danielle Smith. But a lot of the things in it, we've already passed with Bill C-5. So the guy that keeps on saying that Mark Carney is stealing all his ideas is basically showed up at the convention and say, hey, I've got this great idea for how we can move forward and make things great. It's the same thing that Mark Carney put in his C-5 bill, but we're going to call it the Canadian Sovereignty Act. Now, not exactly the same thing, word for word in every single element, but there was a lot of that, and there was even a moment that he was saying, like this, and we'll do this, and we'll diversify our trade partners and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's what Mark Carney is doing. You're pledging to do what Mark Carney is doing, but you have less skill, less ability, less experience, and less education, and fewer contacts, and no reputation at all in that circle. Again, by what metric do you think that you could do the same thing that Mark Carney is doing, run on that, and do it better, when all of us are having a chance to see Mark Carney do it, and he's pretty much killing it. But then again, that's all he's got, right? So, what more do you expect? He did continue on and then stated that we will greenlight the pipeline when there is no pipeline proposal yet to be greenlit. So Mark Carney is doing more to get a pipeline built, another one with the MOU and stuff like that, than the Conservatives have ever done to get a pipeline built to West Coast Tidewater. They fundraised millions and millions of it, but they never actually got around to getting it done. Funny that, how the money kept coming in, and the pipeline never materialized under them. Interesting. He also mentioned that about a new strategic, he said here that liberals say they want a new strategic partnership with China for a new world order. One pipeline would increase our exports more than all the products we sell to China in a year. This is the same party who just weeks ago went apoplectic and broke out into hives because we signed a deal with China to remove certain trade irritants that allowed EVs made in China to be sold in Canada at a very, very small amount, and had those canola tariffs and tariffs on beefs and pulses and seafood removed. And the Conservatives didn't seem to be happy that that happened. But now, a couple of weeks later, they're saying, gee, one more pipeline and we'll be able to sell more than we... So do we want to deal with China, or do we not want to deal with China? And if we want to deal with China, is it only oil and nothing else? Or I'm confused, Conservatives. I really am. Then he... and the other thing as well is, while we're talking about diversifying our markets and diversifying our trade partners, we're also talking about diversifying our trade products, right? It's agri-food, it's energy, and not just oil, right? Conventional and non-conventional. We're talking about uranium. We're talking about renewables that we can export. Excess power to the United States. We're talking about people-to-people ties and culture. We're talking about technology, AI. We're talking about defense. We're talking about a lot of things here when we're talking about trade. And it seems that he's focused like, all we need is one more pipeline to the west, and everything will be fine. That's all we need for our economic development. Just one more pipeline. I'm not sure that in an era where we're realizing we're all on board with diversification, so we're putting all our eggs in one basket yet again, one more pipeline to Asia, for export to Asia, and that's all we need, and we'll be fine. Because he doesn't seem to have much anything else. Everything else in his plan seems to be just cutting taxes and apparently reducing red tape, and so take in less revenue, continue taking in less revenue, and dealing with China, but only for oil, and we'll be good. It's not as comprehensive an economic policy as the one that we are seeing Mark Carney implement. Just saying. It's rather limited. Actually, the conservative policy on this, in terms of diversification, seems to be marked by an impressive lack of creativity and imagination. Then he continues on, and then he talks about, warns about massive defense spend. He keeps on talking about inflation, right? Government spending leads to inflation. Every time government spends, it leads to inflation, and then they start printing money, and life gets tougher for you. But he wants another pipeline, and he does want to massively increase defense spending while cutting taxes. He wants to do pretty much the same amount of spending as Mark Carney does, in a way, but he doesn't recognize that if he was the one that would be doing the spending instead of the liberals, basically his premise is if he was the one that was doing the spending rather than the liberals, it wouldn't be inflationary and he wouldn't have to print money. Again, which is absolutely comical when your main political rival is a central banker and a man who understands the bond market and is pretty good at risk management. The thing with Pierre, his problem is that he keeps on behaving like he's the smartest kid in the class when the smartest kid in the class already has the job. And he keeps on saying, push the smartest kid in the class out because I'm smarter than he is. I'm better than he is. And there's absolutely nothing that exists in observable reality. Oh, there we go. Hopefully I'm back. My connection was lost for a little bit there. I just got an indication, so hopefully I'm back. But hold on. It seems that on the screen, I was paused for a little bit. Oh, darn. Hopefully you could still hear me when the image stopped and that you didn't miss too much of the words and explanation. I'm so sorry. I was afraid that this might happen during the show. But basically, Pierre here is essentially asking, wanting to sell the idea that he would be better at doing whatever it is we elected Mark Carney to do. And there is not a single metric other than maybe being able to peddle out disinformation and misinformation at record speeds, at which Pierre is better than Mark Carney at all. When it comes to this particular job, he is completely outclassed. So basically, he's not doing it fast enough, and I could do it better, is all he's got. He had mentioned I think that, oh no, that's in another moment, that he was supposed to have a big meeting with the Prime Minister. I think it was maybe supposed to be yesterday, where he would give some of his input. And at the same time, same day he was going to have this meeting, he's tweeting, everything that Mark Carney is doing, it's just an illusion. It's just an illusion. It's all smoke and mirrors. Mark Carney is not real. He's not making anything happen. It's just an illusion. And it's like, if you want to turn over a new tonal leaf and you say you want to help the government this time, you want to help collaborate, you want to be helpful, but you keep on saying you want to be helpful in letters and in videos to your own group, but you don't actually pick up the phone and call the Prime Minister and say, hey, I would like to be helpful. Let's have a meeting. Then you're not trying to be helpful. If you say you're going to be helpful, but don't do anything proactively to be helpful, I want to. He hasn't asked me. He hasn't accepted my offer. Then you're not being helpful. And let's remember again that a year ago in January, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had a very, very special meeting, extraordinary meeting with all the leaders of opposition parties to specifically ask them to be helpful. And the Pierre Poilièvre Conservatives decided to take a pass on that. They didn't lift a damn finger. So Pierre Poilièvre finally got around, after writing his letter of the week that was very haughty and very dismissive, and saying, I want to help, but everything else in the letter was completely insulting. Finally did, it seems, pick up the phone and called Mark Carney. And it's amazing that the first time that Pierre Poilièvre actually picked up the phone, rather than performed, I want to help, in front of a camera for his audience, his base, Mark Carney said, yeah, sure, let's have a meeting. That wasn't hard now, was it? All he had to do was communicate directly with the person he said he wanted to help, rather than talk about offering. We offered to help, but nobody responded. We offered to help. You didn't offer. You told your base that you were open and offering to help, but you didn't tell the person who you think needs the help that you were offering to help. It's extremely passive-aggressive, because what you're supposed to say it out publicly in front of a camera and then hope that the guy calls you. That's what Pierre was trying to do. Because then after that, he can say, the Prime Minister called me and asked for my help. So, and he's sitting there going, like, if he could take my ideas, I don't care. I don't even want the credit for them. But you know, he keeps on saying every chance he gets, they were my ideas. And then they vote against them. Right, I agree. It looked more like a student sitting in the headmaster's office trying to make an impression. That's exactly right, Linda. Again, the more and more he tries to pretend that he is better than Mark Carney at being Mark Carney, all I see is the short pants. All I see is the short pants. He continued on, stating, then trying to, when he was talking about the defense adopting his best Pete keg stand or Hegseth imitation, talking about having a warrior culture again and all that kind of stuff, which I don't know why he's doing that. It's like, we're not a nation with a warrior culture. We're a nation with a proud military history and lots of achievements. Absolutely, and we've punched above our weight. But it's like, we're not a warrior nation. We don't go to other nations to have war for shits and giggles. We don't invade anybody. We don't attack. It's like, the whole concept of us being a warrior nation is not tethered to any observable reality in our history, especially our present. So it's literally just something he's picked up from somewhere else. The hypermasculinization of things is, if you read philosopher Umberto Eco's 14 characteristics of fascism, that's one of them. Because the military is too weak. We can't let trans people in. It doesn't make it strong enough. Well, Pete Hegseth, we can't let women in. It doesn't make it strong enough. It has to be masculine. It has to be the hyper-masculinization, the macho ethic, that type of stuff. That is clearly one of those 14 signs. And he's engaging in it right here when he's talking about warrior culture. And then, of course, he's talking about separation because, and this I agree, I was hoping to do an editorial at one point earlier in the year, and it didn't happen. But thinking about at the end of the year, when everybody does a year of the end review, you know, what happened last year and all that kind of stuff, and then you sort of look forward to the following year and what will be the big issue. If you were going to ask me, the big issue indeed would be separation. Alberta and Quebec specifically. The Quebec one is less sure because, of course, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon has to win his provincial election, and given that Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon is very much Paul Saint-Pierre Poilièvre Plamondon, there's very big opportunity that he can also turn off a lot of the Quebec voters right now, especially once the Liberals and the CAQ get their new leaders. It's going to be the same thing as the federal election again in the province, even though people don't think that there's necessarily a Mark Carney in the wings. You're still going to have a dynamic where the pieces on the chessboard get moved and changed in a short period of time. And, you know, if Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon keeps on behaving like he's got it like that, he may learn that he doesn't. So that one is less far off. The Alberta one, though, is very far off because our national Quisling premier, Danielle Smith, is bending over backwards like a Cirque du Soleil contortionist in order to clear the path for the separatists in Alberta to get their question on the ballot. And if you remember that meeting on, I think on the 29th that the Prime Minister had with the premiers at that press conference when Danielle Smith was asked about that, she says, you know, well, I'm not going to demonize 1 million of my citizens in my province. Like, nobody asked you to demonize them. Nobody asked you to demonize them. Standing saying, if you turn around rather than saying, I support a strong sovereign Alberta within a strong Canada, which means absolutely nothing, you just said like this, I do not support the separatist movement. That's not demonizing. I don't think we should separate is not demonizing. I do not approve of their methods is not demonizing. Yes, and Danielle Smith sure as hell didn't have a problem demonizing every single Albertan or Canadian that took a vaccine. I believe at some point she made a comparison to Hitler or something. When I don't have the exact terms, but a lot of people on social media were reminding us of that after she talked about not demonizing. Says, well, aren't you the person that compared something with regard to vaccination? I'm not sure who it was or whatnot. Maybe one of you in the Damn Fam notes remembers off the top of your head what it was. But yeah, there was comparisons to Hitler. Because why not casually just throw out the name of Hitler and associate it with vaccines? But she doesn't want to demonize people. She has nothing to say about Canada. Nothing good to say about Canada. I guess she still says it's still going back to 10 years of Trudeau. She was mentioning, again, 10 years of Trudeau in that press conference and whatnot. And everything's terrible. Everything's terrible. Yesterday, she posted a tweet about how well Alberta is doing on selling their oil and how much everything is rising. But they're also so terribly hard done by. Right? It's almost like Danielle Smith, Michael Dieter, the cartoonist, had an editorial cartoon of Danielle Smith as the Joker. And you know, the Jokers, there's the top one, you know, it's up there and it's down there, and basically said that she has two faces. And I'm saying, yeah, well, if she's got two faces, she didn't remember what Marilyn Monroe said about having two faces. What you should do with at least one of them. Just saying. So yeah, Danielle is being Danielle. And there are other articles going out there and videos stating that Danielle seems to be attempting to wish to, how would you put it? Oh, darn, I lost the thought, sorry. There's a motorcycle sound going out in the back there, and it pulled me off what I was trying to say. I'm so sorry. I just forgot my thought there. But yes. Oh, thank you, Kit Saucy. Danielle Smith compared taking vaccinations as being under Hitler's regime. So there you go. But she doesn't want to demonize. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. She was talking about the 10 terrible years that she had, and how every single move in policy seemed to be designed to kill the Alberta oil industry and to have Alberta under attack all the time, constantly by the federal government in Ottawa. And isn't how awful it is. This, getting in the way of their evolution and their ability to sell their product and bring it to markets. These terrible, terrible, terrible liberals did all this for 10 years, and apparently were terrible at it. So, because according to the numbers that she's bragging about now, and Danielle Smith does this thing where she brags about how much money they're making from liquefied natural gas and oil, and how much they're selling in terms of quantity more than they used to, while trying to make people believe that the liberals were trying to kill the industry, put on a production cap, and try to hobble the ability to export, while it was under the liberals that TMX and the Coastal GasLink were both approved and built. So, yeah, she's a bit of an interesting character, and very duplicitous, and never tells the truth. So there you go. But yeah, she really. I'm trying to find the tweet, and unfortunately I can't, because I would have liked to read specifically what she said, but I can't find it. But with regard to all of that, when it comes to separation, the Alberta one is the one that's going to be coming up, and that's the one, of course, because of what you have going on with the Alberta Perfidy project, and Mr. The Cookie Cowboy. Going to the United States and claiming he's dealing with high officials, but won't say which one, and all that kind of stuff. Bit of an attention seeker, That is something that is well open to international influence opportunities. And Danielle Smith, she's already done her job. All she had to do was get the question on the ballot. And after that, she can lay back and my work here is done. Oh, no, I support a sovereign Alberta within a strong and united Canada. As the money rolls in from the same sources as the money rolled in to support the convoy, to support Alberta separation. So she's done her job. She's opened the door for the foreign influence to happen. And I'm very seriously hoping that if there is a referendum question, because it seems there will be a vote, because Thomas Lukasik, when he did his Forever Canadian petition, gave them the option to either debate this in the House and have a vote in the House, so that all the MLAs in the legislature in Alberta would be able to put their hands up and make it very clear where it is they stood on the issue. And Danielle Smith decided that she didn't want to have that type of roll call. So that means that both questions will probably be going to a referendum, unless Danielle finds a way, of course, of making only one, trying to find some new law or loophole that says, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Lukasik, we can't put your question about keeping Canada together on the ballot this time. But the one about separating Canada, separating Alberta from Canada, we can. Wait for that. She might try that. But this is something, all the conditions have been set for a huge foreign interference operation. And that's Danielle Smith. She paved the way. Every single step of the way, she paved it. She rolled out the red carpet. She paved the way. And now she's just going to lie back and pretend, I have nothing to do with this. I have nothing to do with this. It's not what I believe. I just believe they shouldn't be demonized and have a chance. Sure, girl. And that's going to make a very sticky situation for Pierre. Because you would think that the leader of the opposition who aspires to be Prime Minister of Canada would want to campaign on national unity. So the way that they're campaigning on national unity is saying, gee, isn't it funny that every time that there's a separation referendum, the Liberals happen to be in power? Because, and you have Melissa Lansman trying to pretend that Alberta separation, there was no Alberta separation movement before Mark Carney came along. Really? Because there's been talk about separation in Alberta. I think, what is it, about 100 years? But no, it never existed before Carney. Sure, girl. Keep going here. Then he was talking about when he's talking about Canadian identity, he says that Liberals want us to believe that our history is filled with shame and horror, that we are, my God, my handwriting is terrible, that we are a country with no core identity, and that the youth will never own a home. That's a little melodramatic. Liberals recognize that we weren't perfect in the past, and have issued apologies where needed. And of course, you can see where Pierre Poilièvre would have a problem with that, because when his own government did it, when he was part of the Harper government, they issued the residential school apology. That was the day that Pierre Poilièvre went to CFR radio before and said that all the Indigenous needed to be better was to learn a little bit of a work ethic, and complained that we weren't getting value for money for legal settlements for tort. As if you're supposed to get value for money from legal settlements that you have to pay out because you did something very, very wrong and hurt a lot of people. Pierre thinks you should get value for money from that. So, yeah. This image admitting that you have not been perfect and that you've made mistakes in the past is not the same thing as saying our history is nothing but shame and horror, and we should not be proud of anything. Right? But that's what he wants you to believe. And then there was like lots of contradictions where he's mentioning about saying like the autonomy of Quebec will be respected, and Quebec nationalism is part of the Canadian identity. But then later on in his speech, he's saying when he's talking pandering, because he usually panders to the Jewish community, he says, and you can be proud to wear your kippah anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country, except in Quebec if you have a job in which you're a position of authority. Right, Pierre? Because you cannot at the same time say that Canada is a country where you should be able to be proud to wear your kippah everywhere, while at the same time saying you can respect Quebec autonomy. And the law in Quebec is if you are a male teacher who wears a kippah, then you're not allowed to teach because you're wearing an ostentatious religious symbol while in a position of authority. And clearly, by doing that, you're trying to proselytize. Proselytize? Is that the word? Trying to convert the kids there to Judaism. But again, this is the party that also wants you to believe that if your child happens to be transgender, that he's going to go get, or she is going to go get transgender in the principal's office. So, you know, inconsistency. You cannot respect Quebec autonomy and at the same time tell the Jewish community, I'm going to guarantee that you'll be able to wear your kippah everywhere. Those two concepts are not compatible. He's got to pick one. But not that night. Nope, not that night he didn't. He was saying that, again, went back to this thing about no hyphenated Canadians. We are all Canadian, all Canadian. Like this. So again, Americanizing us, wanting just to be more a melting pot than a mosaic. And of course, when he is saying that we don't want any hyphenated Canadians, everyone is Canadian, we also have the contradiction that the Conservative Party of Canada has become very much a purity test party. if you're not conservative enough, you don't belong. So I'm not sure how a party that has a founding or an established, a core philosophy that if you're not like us enough, then you're not one of us at all, can also say that we are all Canadian. And we should have no hyphenated Canadians, because they, with their purity test, determine that there are Canadians worthy of being Canadian, and then everyone else was not. And it just happens to conveniently be that everybody who's Canadian, that was worthy of being Canadian, thinks the exact same thing as they do. My. Imagine how that, just a weird coincidence, near statistical impossibility even, but yeah, imagine. Then he says, we will no longer allow for, internal conflicts from elsewhere in the world to spill out into our streets, because I guess the conservatives prefer domestic conflicts to spill out into our streets, because aren't they the convoy party? We had a whole thing spill out into our streets a few years ago. That's how we became known, after Mr. Grizzly went and talked to have a vociferous conversation with a few people while wearing a blue jacket. That was a conflict that spilled out into our streets, and the conservatives supported it and championed it and encouraged it, provided it with aid and comfort. So yes, we cannot have foreign conflicts spilling out into our streets. We need our streets for our domestic conflicts. This guy makes no sense. Everything he says, like I said, it was well-crafted bullshit. Very well delivered to his audience that was ready and thirsty for it. Like little baby chicks waiting to be fed. And Pierre fed them. But he has the same problem as Thomas Mulcair had when he was saying in Quebec, oh yes, I support the Sherbrooke Declaration, 50% plus 0.1 in order to achieve separation, and then goes out to the rest of Canada and tries to pretend he did say that in Quebec and that he believes in national unity. You can't sell both at the same time. This is what Pierre is trying to do here with this concept. He's trying to sell both at the same time, and it just doesn't work. The policy that he is espousing in one area of the country is policy that whole other areas of the country very, very, very strenuously oppose. So at some point, he's going to have to pick one. And when he does, he is going to make one group very happy. Or if he refuses to pick one, then everybody is going to say, hey, you've got two different discourses depending on who you're talking to, and therefore you can't be trusted. Then we keep on. He goes talking about then he started introducing, talking about people's tragedies and miseries, because he likes doing that, and had some people in the audience there, and again Americanizing our politics by pretending, I guess he was at a State of the Union address. And I think it was 3 different people. And we have this person here in our audience, and everybody goes, yay! Because you know when the State of the Union that happens, and then the camera pans to the person in the audience. Because the camera didn't pan in this case because they weren't identified for that. But Pierre did the same thing. So another Americanization of our politics. Very sad. And then started talking about castle laws, because of course, right? Why not throw in a little vigilante justice? What's a little vigilanteism among conservative friends? This is not a good thing. We already have laws that allow us to defend our property if they need it, but if we are going to use any force, it has to be reasonable and proportional to the threat being faced. It isn't, you came on my property, so I blow your brains out. And which is what he's proposing here with his castle laws. Again, another Americanization. Then he says, talks about fighting addiction, and as I mentioned, wanting to bring everybody home, and then we'll have somebody will bring somebody back from addiction, and that person will go out and get one of their people that they knew back in the day, and they will bring them, and we'll fix that person, and then that person will go out and bring someone, and we'll fix that person. We'll do it until we bring everybody home, because that's the way it works, because everybody's a Guy Felicetti, apparently, according to Pierre. And which is ironic, because Pierre has absolutely no respect for Guy Felicetti or his work or what he does. But he's basically saying, hey, all we need to do is help one person get off drugs, and that person will go out and find somebody that they were doing drugs with and bring him in, and then we'll be able to fix them too. And and if we just do that, then we'll solve the problem. I think the problem's a little more complex. A little more complex. So yeah, again, right? Simple slogans, lines that sound good, but absolutely nothing about them. Nothing about them that is concrete or tethered to reality. No plans, no tactics, no strategies, nothing. So yeah, not particularly impressive. Then he talks about, he gets to the end of it. And basically, his whole premise here is that we are running on hope as conservatives, and we're here to offer you hope. And if you're feeling hopeless, if you are feeling exhausted, if you're feeling that the world is against you, just hang on a little longer. Help is on the way. From the Conservative Party of Canada, who just reconfirmed their loser leader as their leader, probably making it such that they'll lose the next federal election if he lasts that long. But help is on the way. Conservative followers, if you are really in a desperate situation, as Pierre mentions, don't hold your breath for Pierre's help to be on the way. You might turn conservative blue. This is not a guy who's setting up to be prime minister the next time around. This is a guy that's not setting up. If you're hoping for help from Pierre, I'm not going to tell you to abandon all hope, all ye who enter, but your hope might be better placed in another basket. Because right now, the way things are going, it doesn't look like Pierre Poilièvre will ever be in a position to be able to deliver on that promise of help and hope. Just saying. Yeah. So, and then of course, at the end, all the volunteers, everybody that helped, and all the people who keep on in this fight with us, you don't give up, so I can't give up. So basically, putting it on them. The reason he's still around, the reason he hasn't left yet, even though he blew a 27-point lead, even though he lost his own seat, even though we're at a point now where he is so far behind Mark Carney, and there's a gap widening between the parties again, showing that the Liberals would be in a majority position, and if they won, and there's certain polls, one poll indicating pretty close, I think it was the, oh yes, would be the poll that just came out that had very, very bad news for Pierre Poilièvre from Main Street Research. Indicating, I believe, that just about 50% of Canadians, if there were an election that were held today, that 50% of Canadians, maybe even greater, would vote Liberal, an actual true majority. I believe achieved with Brian Mulroney, I think, made that happen at one point. But yeah, an actual majority. at this particular moment. And that's kind of an interesting move. Try to see if I can find it here for you. But it was Main Street Polling had put out a tweet, I think not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, stating that they had some numbers that would make your eyes pop. Or I think that was Polling Canada that said, hold on, there's something that's going to have your eyes pop, and it's coming from Main Street. And basically, Main Street, as I told you, there's a whole bunch of polling companies, right? We talked about Angus Reid, we told about Abacus and all that kind of stuff, and where the party stood. I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to check my notes here again. Angus Reid were showing Liberals +3. Abacus was showing Liberals +4. Liaison was showing Liberals +8. Léger was showing Liberals +9. And a lot of people were saying, oh, well, and Liaison was the one that came out first on these ones. Said, oh, that's an outlier, that's an outlier. And then Léger came up and said +8. Main Street came out with Liberals +15. Liberals +15. That is an incredible lead. So if there is an outlier, it isn't Liaison, it isn't Léger showing +9, +8, it would be Mainstream showing +15. Again, how reliable Main Street is definitely up to people. But yeah, according to Main Street Research here, there's an article, and I just realized because we're doing a live, I don't have to cut out after an hour, so I can do a regular length show here for you. Because I was looking at the time and say, oh, I need to cut this out. But no, I don't actually. It says here, the latest federal voter intentions for Main Street Research show a surge for Mark Carney Liberals, who now hold a 15-point advantage over the Conservatives. The latest snapshot was fielded over the weekend from January 31st to February 2nd with a sample size of 1,276. This carries a margin of error of ±2.7, 19 times out of 20. The latest poll asked Canadians how they might vote if an election were held today, and a majority, 51%, majority of decided and leaning voters indicated they would support Carney-led Liberals. This compared to just 36% who indicated they would vote for Pierre Poilièvre-led Conservatives. This surge in support for Carney Liberals is largely driven by a shift among voters under 35, who Conservatives have led among for the past few years. So Conservatives have been bragging about this a lot. We got the young people, the future is with us. Not anymore, you don't. Not anymore, you don't. Because yes, young people are concerned legitimately about their future, their ability to own a home, their career prospects, all of that kind of stuff. But young Canadians, it would appear, also don't want to be young Americans. So it seems that what Mark Carney's been doing, particularly that speech in Davos, got a lot of attention among young Canadians. And the Conservatives don't own them anymore. And not even young men. Conservatives don't own them anymore. Liberals are either leading or very competitive. Some of the polling companies show that the only group that Conservatives are leading with are people who already are inclined to vote Conservative. But even among people who are willing to consider voting for the Conservative Party, most of them, when pressed, declare that if they had to vote today, they would vote Carney. So he's even lost those who are open to voting Conservative. He's not in a good place. He's not in a good place. Let's see what else it says here. The poll also asked Canadians if they approved of the trade deal with China, and 77% either strongly, that's 34%, or somewhat, 33%, support it. Just 11% said they somewhat oppose it, and 17% strongly oppose the deal. So on the positive side of the ledger, depending, from somewhat support to largely support, it's 77 And I'm not sure how this works because if you have 77% plus an 11% plus a 17%, that's way more than 100, isn't it? So I don't understand these numbers. But let's say if the 77% was true, you got 23% who don't really like it. And if we go the other way around, if we take the opposition that says 28%, then well, it would be 72% that support it. But either way, that's a chasm. That's not a spread, that's a chasm. And it says that almost 3/4 of Canadians said they watched all or part of Carney's speech at Davos. 74% of Canadians watched all or part of Carney's speech. So when we said that this was a speech that would be remembered for a while and a speech that penetrated, it did, because there was so much buzz about it. Canadians actually took the time to say, hey, let's go check out what he said since everybody's talking about that. And so 3/4 of Canadians saw part or all of it, and almost the same amount of Canadians said they had a more favorable view of Carney after the speech, 76%. More people have a favorable view of Carney after the speech than there are people who saw all or part of it. That's not good for Pierre either. Quote, this is a remarkable finding compared to most of our polls from the second half of 2025 that had a statistical tie between the Liberals and Conservatives, said Kito Magi, President and CEO of Main Street Research. Quote, young Canadians especially seem to have been impacted by the speech at a time when national pride is at an all-time high, he added. It remains to be seen if this surge is a temporary change driven by the trade and sovereignty war with Trump, or if it represents a fundamental shift in public opinion. Only time will tell. And you have the interesting situation here with national pride being at an all-time high, and Pierre Poilièvre at his convention speech saying that liberals want you to believe that our history is full of shame and horror. So this is not the proper countertone. It's not the proper countertone. Quote, the impact Trump is having on public opinion in Canada cannot be overstated, added Robert Martin, senior analyst for Main Street Research. Quote, Atlantic Canada, where the highest per capita active and retired Canadian Forces personnel hail from, appears to have taken the Trump insults about our participation in NATO personally. He continued, while we see volatility in vote intentions in Atlantic Canada due to small sample sizes, this latest snapshot should send shivers down the spines of every Atlantic Conservative member of Parliament, he concluded. So I'm guessing that the polling is indicating that Conservatives would be completely wiped out of Atlantic Canada if there were an election held today. On that subject, I don't know if it happened, because if it did, I may have missed it. But did the Conservatives have anything to say at all when Donald Trump insulted the service of Canadian members of the armed forces who served in the NATO mission in Afghanistan and pissed all over the graves of those who gave their lives, including the 4 the Americans themselves killed in an alleged friendly fire incident? Did the Conservatives say anything, or did they just leave it up to MP James Bazan to say it once or twice somewhere and point to it? Because I don't actually recall seeing any video of Pierre Poilièvre being somewhat upset or taking offense to the comments about the service of our armed forces. I may have missed it. I'm open to the possibility that there was a lot going on as I was preparing, and I may have missed it, but I don't remember reading an article about it. I don't remember seeing any interviews with Pierre Poilièvre saying it was absolutely terrible and horrible that Donald Trump had said that about the members of our military. So, yeah, I'm not sure if the party had an official position. I would suspect that James Bazan would probably have said something, because I think since the days of Harper, he's been their party's point person on all things defense. But he doesn't actually have the highest profile and doesn't actually get the most camera time. So if he did say it, it didn't have a lot of reach, and it certainly wasn't promoted by the party. And Well, that may have been intentional. Again, if you have a party that 50% of its voters think that Trump's doing a good job, maybe they're okay with Trump having insulted the service. Maybe. Maybe there's a reason, Pierre. I have no recollection of Pierre delivering a full-throated defense of our military. Just saying. Again, I may have missed it. But there's also something that would be hard to miss, which is why I'm asking the question. So yeah, kids and cubs, not great at all for Pierre Poilièvre. This man is in trouble, and that's why I keep on saying, let the floor crossings begin, because with data this terrible, and a speech that, while well-crafted and well-delivered for the base, didn't mention Trump once, didn't really mention the United States by name once, and had nothing in it with regard to what it is that he is going to do with this new mandate in order to make things better. Yes, he allegedly wants to be more collaborative. I will believe that when I see it and it lasts. And I will also believe it when the collaboration offered on one day isn't followed the next day by tweets saying that Mark Carney is committing fraud on the entire nation by presenting an illusion of action, but nothing will ever get done. Which is really interesting also when you consider that recently we've had reports that one of the two first projects that went to the major projects office, the renovation of the expansion of the port of Contrecoeur in the Montreal area, all the permits have now been issued, and it is taking place. It's starting to happen. And that the Darlington project that was there, the first reports have come out, and the project so far at the moment is ahead of schedule and under budget. But it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. Mark Carney doesn't mean any of it. The things are happening, but Pierre is just, in his world, if it isn't built yet and making money yet, it's not real. Because apparently there's no money, no economic activity in lobbying or planning or making architectural plans or the whole process of evaluating stuff to issue permits. There's no money to be made at all in environmental mitigation. There's no jobs, no salaries, nothing like this. None of this. There's nothing good that happens for the economy until the thing is actually built and turning a profit. Building it doesn't matter. Drawing the plans for it doesn't matter. Right? None of that is economic activity, according to conservatives. This is not a serious party. It's not a serious party at all. I'm looking through the Main Street numbers here, broken out by age, gender, and region. If we're looking at this, taking a look here, for some reason, that's very, very weird. The table has the totals, but the individual things, I wish I could show it to you. It's all lines with placeholders for entries, but the entries aren't actually in the document. I think someone forgot to proofread it before they put it out. Oh my God, okay. Because I was going to go look at the breakdown here, but they are not there at all. Okay. So I can't bring it to you because the data is isn't actually on the pages that I'm reading, and that's for absolutely everything in the pool. which is really interesting. They've just not, somebody forgot to enter them. Oops. All right. So I can't bring you more information on that, but I will send a little note, hopefully, to Main Street. Hopefully they will see it and say, I went to go look at the PDF and everything is blank. That's weird. I've never seen that before. That'll throw you off your game when you're trying to do a live show. Say, hey, I got this. There's this data here. Let's go take a look at it. Oh, the data isn't there. Oops. Interesting thing though, with Main Street, I'm noticing when they're evaluating for gender, they actually have male, female, and non-binary. They're polling for those three categories, which is really interesting. And if we're interested relationally in terms of a ratio, when we're talking about in the sample size of 1,276, the gender breakdown is 614 male, 610 female, and 52 non-binary. So that gives you an idea. And that's non-binary. That's non-binary. That's not necessarily trans. That's just non-binary. So if we go trans, it's even smaller. So when you look at that way in terms of the sample size, you keep on wondering why it is that we are spending so much time and energy on this, trying to make the lives of transgender people so miserable, particularly when there are just so few of them. But hey, the whole goal is to pick a target that they think nobody will stand up for, right? That's why they picked them. And that's why we need to stand up for them. All right. So that's the whole conservative thing, the speech, the bad news. I fully expect that there will be some more floor crossings, because that was not a great performance by Pierre Poilièvre. It was great for the base. The base loved it. The base ate it up like it was a Reese's peanut butter cup. But it really wasn't a great performance. And if you were listening to that speech, if you were a natural conservative, if you wanted to hear what it is that Pierre had planned, now that he's got this renewed mandate, how it is substantially that he would take some action in order to bring about the change he claims that he wants to represent. You didn't get it in that speech. The speech was completely devoid of it. And that's sad. It's very sad. All right, kids and cubs. We have a little bit of Olympic news for you here. This is by Jesse Campigotto of CBC. And as you know, the Olympics are starting today. There are some in alpine skiing, I believe, luge, I believe, and in alpine skiing, I believe it's not competition. I believe it's just training runs for the moment. But yeah, lots of stuff. It starts officially today, I believe. In terms of actual, not training runs or stuff like that, but actual competition, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that mixed doubles curling starts tonight with Jocelyn Peterman and Brent Gallant. Brent Gallant, who will be having double duty in curling because he will be playing on the four-person men's team as well, which is really interesting. I think he might, well, he'll be the first player from Canada to play in two different curling events in the same Olympics. I believe in Italy, I believe Italy also has a person that will be doing the same thing. His last name Moser, and I believe they are the current world champions and defending Olympic champions in mixed doubles curling. And then he's also plays on the men's team, I think, from Italy, who qualified. So there might be a couple of people that are doing double duty here at the Olympics in terms of curling, which is again interesting and a lot of fun. and a great opportunity. If you listen to our show with Devin Haru, we are very well set up in order to have a sweep, but there's so much parity now. That it's tough competition. Curling, anything can happen. But Peterman and Gallant are absolutely fantastic, and they are the ones that got us, qualified us for the very first time in mixed doubles, where Caitlin Laws and Johnny Moe won gold. And but we also have Team Homan. Rachel Homan will be going to the Olympics for the women, and even though in mixed doubles, in which she went with fourth person, they did not get a medal that time. They are two-time world defending champions at the moment, and definitely the odds-on favorite to be able to win. And then with the men's team, with Brad Jacobs, every single person on that team is already, I believe, an Olympic medalist in curling from past performances in past Olympiads, which is a really big deal. Now, here, according to this preview, there is some really, really big news in that, well, there's some news about, let's see, I just want to make sure that I do them in order. So I don't have a difficulty following. But here we have, exactly like I mentioned, curling, Canada versus Czechia in mixed doubles. And that started already, I believe, so that took place already at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time today. Hopefully I'll have time to go check out the result and I can bring it to you at some point. But yes, Peterman and Gallant faced the Czechs in the opening draw of the mixed doubles event. The tournament runs through February 10th, one day before Gallant joins up with skip Brad Jacobs' team to begin the men's event. And let's see, what else do we have here? What else do we have here? It said, it says here that Peterman and Gallant also have Olympic experience, both of them, having both competed in 2022 in Beijing, albeit with mixed results. Gallant won a bronze with Brad Gushu's men's team, but Peterman was part of the disappointing Jennifer Jones rink that missed the playoffs with a 5-4 record. Peterman and Gallant have come up empty-handed in their last two trips to the mixed doubles worlds, but in 2022 they went 8-1 in group play before losing in the first round of the playoffs to Norway. Last spring in Fredericton, went 7-2 before getting knocked out of medal contention by Estonia and then losing a ranking game to the United States to finish 6th. Canadians should be able to get off to a strong start on Wednesday against the Czechs. Julie Zelingorova and Vit Chebikovsky went 3-6 at last year's World Championships and are considered one of the weaker teams in the tournament. The favorites to win gold, as I mentioned before, are Italy's Stefania Constantini and Amos Mosaner. Sorry, I think I called him his last name Mosaner. It's him, who are the reigning Olympic and world champions. Canada looks to be among the top medal contenders, along with Great Britain and the US, but we've learned to expect the unexpected in this event. And that's true because in mixed doubles curling, one bad shot or one missed shot, or even a shot that looks really good, but just, settles at the wrong spot can be enough to have the other team score 3 or 4 on you pretty quickly. And in mixed doubles curling, you don't get 8 rocks, you only get 6. So if a shot doesn't go well, there's not a lot of opportunity to make up the difference. And here, according to Kit Linda, she went and took a look. So we have some first Olympic results for you. It would seem that Team Canada won the match, 10-5. Czechia shook hands in the 9th end, conceded after 9. So there you go. Thank you, Kit Linda, for bringing us the update so that I could share it with everyone here. In alpine skiing, it's a day of practice, of course. All 5 men on the Canadian Olympic alpine team are slated to take part in the first test run on the downhill course in Bormio. The group features Jack Crawford, who we've mentioned on the show, and Cameron Alexander, who we've also mentioned, who have combined for 11 career medals on the World Cup Tour and are considered Canada's best hopes for the men's podium in Italy. At the 2022 Olympics in Beijing, Crawford took bronze in the now-defunct individual combined event and placed 4th in the downhill. He went on to win gold at the Super G at the 2023 World Championships, where Alexander took bronze in the downhill. Last year, Crawford won the famed Kitzbühel downhill for his first World Cup victory, and Alexander joined him on the podium there with bronze. But Alexander suffered a season-ending knee injury at the World Championships last February, and neither man has really come close to winning a medal this season. Although Alexander did have a top 10 finish at one point. We had reported in the Canadians Who Make Us Proud section of our show at one point recently. However, both guys have shown they have what it takes to conquer Bormio's notorious Stelvio course, one of the toughest on the planet. Crawford, in addition to his victory on the treacherous Strafe track in Kitzbühel last year, took silver in a World Cup downhill in Bormio in 2022, while Alexander grabbed a bronze in both 2023 and 2024. So they are familiar with the course. So again, alpine skiing is one of those any given Sunday sports, right? You can have a good performance on a specific day. And there you go. So some medal potential from them in the sense that they've been there before and they have experience and they have been able to do it on that course. But of course, not success so far in this season. But you never know when you're going to peak. Now, there's also news about our Canadian men's hockey team. This one, of course, makes me sad for the person this happened to, but makes me a little happy because, as you know, I have a tiny bit of a crush on one particular Canadian hockey player. And that hockey player had been left out of the roster originally, but there's been an injury, and therefore he's been called up. Team Canada has announced today that, well, not today, but announced was on Tuesday, that Anthony Cirelli is out of the Olympics after he was injured on an open ice hit during Sunday's outdoor NHL game in Tampa. Boston Bruins. The Lightning and Canada head coach John Cooper described the injury as, quote, kind of a stinger after the game. It makes you feel, you know, the Olympics only come around once every 4 years. Once you get on a team, it's guaranteed that you'll be called back 4 years later. So this might have been this Mr. Cirelli's only opportunity. And to get an injury like that so close to the start of the games, it must be absolutely devastating. I cannot imagine what it is that he is feeling right now. Cirelli, a defensively sound center who has 15 goals and 35 points in 49 games this season, will be replaced by Sam Bennett. What a cutie. Team Canada said. The feisty Panthers forward won the Conn Smythe Trophy as the NHL playoff MVP last spring after helping Florida to back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. Bennett also played for Canada at the Four Nations Face-Off last year and was one of the biggest names left off the initial Olympic roster. He has 19 goals in 55 games this season. Meanwhile, the Canadian team is awaiting word on the status of star forward Braden Point, a teammate of Cirelli's on the Lightning, out since January 12th. Point has resumed skating with Tampa Bay, but won't play before the NHL enters its Olympic break on Friday. Canada's first game in men's hockey is maybe 8 days away now, February 12th, also versus Czechia. There you go. For those who are a big fan of downhill ski, not necessarily Canadian skiers, but love the legends, legend Lindsey Vonn apparently has a torn ACL, but says that she's going to compete anyway. She says that if she's wearing braces, that she's able to do it. So I hope that that is indeed the case, because I would hate to see a devastating injury from someone not wanting to miss their Olympic dream, but not necessarily being in the best shape, especially when you consider that alpine skiing, given the speed and the slope and the ice and everything, it's a sport that's very, very easy to injure yourself very severely. So I hope we don't, like I said, I hope that she is indeed correct when she says she can. Now, of course, she's a skier of extreme experience and knows her body well. So I feel more confident, but when I'll be watching her ski, even though she's not Canadian, I'm going to be having a little kids and cubs? I'll just wait for a cue from you because I took out the microphone. Oh, for about 2 minutes. Wow. Okay. Sorry, kids and cubs. About that. Do you hear me now? Just waiting. I'm back. Okay. Don't know why that happened. That is very odd. Okay. Let me see if I have a second mic here. It shouldn't have died. They're all fully charged. All right. Let me see this here. Okay. Do you still hear me? All right. Do you still hear me, kids and cubs? So I do not know what's wrong with the mics. The microphones are fully charged, according to the indication, but clearly they are not working as intended. So I think I got myself a couple of lemons here with these portable mics. And there's a lot of echo in the room. All right. Hopefully the sound will still be okay, given that there's a lot of echo here. Okay, it sounds clear through the phone, so that's okay. Perfect. So sorry for that. I'll go back a little bit, and if I repeat myself, I'm sorry. But I was mentioning that for the Canadian men's hockey team, there's a player that's out, Anthony Cirelli, with an injury. He got an on-ice hit during a match, and Sam Bennett has been called up to replace him. Sam Bennett, who made a good name for himself during the Nations tournament there, and is a personal favorite of mine. I was very sad when he was left off the original team, and I'm very, very happy that he's on now because not a player, but I think he's eye candy. He's really pretty to look at. Hey, we all watch sports for different reasons. And then mentioning that if you like legends, Lindsey Vonn, who the American legendary alpine skier, who's at 41, has suffered a torn ACL, but she says she's going to ski anyway. She says that if she's wearing races, she feels good. I'm hoping that that's the case. A person of her experience, I would like to believe that she knows her body and knows what she's capable of. So maybe in that sense, but given that the speed that with which alpine skiing takes place can lead to lots of injuries. Skiing on a torn ACL can be very dangerous. So I'm hoping that everything goes well there. And then I was mentioning that also U.S. male figure skater Ilya Melinin, who's known as the quad god, is considering perhaps attempting a quintuple jump at the Olympics. So history would be made. He's the two-time reigning world champion, and he is considering attempting the quintuple jump at the Olympics. He at first was saying that he would do it after the Olympic competition, but now he is actually considering it. So yeah, that will be absolutely something fantastic. So yeah, that's the Olympic news we have for the moment, and I'm so excited about this. I'm very, very excited about this. All right. Let's see, what else did I want to mention on the show today? Oh, yes, the comings and goings, kits and cubs. Actually, you know what, kits and cubs? I'm going to stop there because I need to pre-record a show for tomorrow. So I'll make the tomorrow show about the comings and goings. And because I'm going to have to record the show immediately after I sign off from this. And I do want to be done before early enough to go for supper this evening before things close. So I will say that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver morning/afternoon show. We hope that you loved listening to us because we loved making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really love it when you do, especially when you share our content with a little bit of something of your own that says why our content resonated with you, because that is advertising we just cannot buy. There you go. So thank you for all your help with that. Now, kids and cubs, if you would like to help us in other ways, there are two ways that you can do so. Ways is by, hey, going down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page. See, the thing that appears low, and I have to actually, I need a little booster seat actually, make sure, because if I don't prop up there, this is what it looks like. And then you can see my mouth when I'm talking. So yeah, get a little booster seat here. You can travel on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where kids Cassie and Elaine will certainly approve of you smashing with our buttons. Give them a little like, a little share, a little subscribe. Go on, get freaky. It's time. It's time. Celebrate. Do it patriotically too. Yeah, do it for Canada. But yes, when you click on our buttons, it helps us with the algorithm, kids and cubs, and that means the world to us, especially when our numbers go up. And we know that it's all your fault. So thank you for all your assistance there. And if you would like to help us in other ways, kids and cubs, let's say financially, because we do incur some costs to bring the show to you, then you can go to the Eager Beaver Emergency Hydration Fund available at our coffee page. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. If you scan that QR code, it will bring you right there. And we thank you for all the ways that you are able to help us, and all the ways that you work to keep your favorite beaver nice and moist. Pineapple juice. It's absolutely fantastic. And then again, hopefully you might be hearing some motors going on there. Somebody just revved something and pretty loud there. I apologize for any ambient noise that is a little distracting. It's distracting for me too, because I'm trying to deliver full sentences while there's just really loud noise going on. It's a little hard to focus. Let's see, what else have I got for you today, kids and cubs? So yes, the Emergency Hydration Fund, please, your support is welcome there. If you're listening on YouTube, we also have the Super Chat and memberships. So thank you. And if you are doing the Buy Canadian thing, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com is our email address. And there you can make a donation that avoids the USCE Tech Pros. We get 100% of your donation, so you get Beaver Bang for your Beaver Buck, and that's always a very good thing. So thank you. And now, if you're not able to contribute financially, please know that you can make contributions of other kinds, like, for example, using that same email address to let us know what you think about the show, good, bad, or ugly, or have some guest suggestions, some articles clips you think that we should see so that we can incorporate it in our news. All of that, it means the world to us, all the ways that you help. So please do contribute somehow, either financially or in word, but take the time to write to us, because we like to hear from you, even if it's to share some good news, because with all that doom scrolling, it's reading your good news and sharing in your joy is a nice pick-me-up. So it does me a world of good. Like when I read good news, like Kit Linda's husband is doing better, all that kind of stuff. That just, it brings so much sunshine to my day. I like it when things go well for people I love and care about. So when they go well for you, it makes it just adds a little bit of sunshine to my day. So please share your good news. I am very grateful when you do. Because democracy is something that you do, kids and cubs. If you live on Prince Edward Island, in 3 days is the day to vote for the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party of Prince Edward Island if you are already registered. So please make sure that you show up. I believe the event will be taking place at the Eastlink Center in Charlottetown. We also have 2 petitions there. Sorry, I can't post them for you with the equipment that I have here, but we have the House of Commons petition to ask the Minister of Health to invoke the disallowance clause of the Constitution Act of 1867 to annul the legislation from Alberta and Saskatchewan that puts our transgender brothers and sisters at risk, and legislation that they have not allowed our transgender brothers and sisters to use to challenge. They denied them the use of our legal system to challenge those decisions by using the notwithstanding clause. So we need to sign that petition. There's also the other petition with regard to ownership of Canadian media, to make sure that Canadian media is owned by us to deliver news in our best interest. So please sign that one. And of course, if you are interested in the high-speed train project, Alto is looking for your input in its public consultation process. So please contribute there. And also, there's a by-election going on provincially in the Chicoutimi area in the province of Quebec. On February 23rd is the voting day. So please make sure that you vote there and don't let friends do democracy alone. Okay. Let's see. I guess I'm at the words of wisdom. Words of wisdom, kids and cubs. If you do go take a walk in a tropical forest, don't get lost and don't end up having an inadvertent jungle walk. Or do and have an adventure, but make sure you do it when it's still light out. I'm not sure that's words of wisdom that's going to be very useful for many of you, but it's what I learned today. So, so I'm sharing because I care. Also, kids and cubs, tomorrow, if all goes well, I will be joining the lovely lady Laura Babcock on the O Show for another appearance. So please watch for that. That will be coming out real soon. It's always a joy to spend time with Laura, and we always have fun and share some good laughs, and it seems to be appreciated when we do some content together. So I'm very much looking forward to that. She's getting ready for her own trip to Mexico soon, so it's kind of be interesting. I've never done it internationally, so live from Mexico. It's the Eagle Beaver, yay! So that'll be a lot of fun. I guess it's my turn to say, well, kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And now ask you, kids and cubs, would you please, at the count of 3, say, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock. And I'll tell you before I give the 1, 2, 3, it seems like you've been saying it a lot, even when we're not doing the show, because the roosters that are next door, they are not crowing only as the sun comes up. It's like all day long, sometimes at 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning. It's like, kids and cubs, when you say Mr. Beaver, cue the cock, I only need it once a day, 5 days a week. So you can stop now saying it at all hours of the day. But right now, I do need you. So on 1, 2, 3. Oh, you lovely, lovely, wonderful people. How can I deny you what you ask for so kindly and nicely? Here's a little cock-a-doodle-doo for you. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, Giggles and Cubs, I don't really have anything for an Easter egg for you, but I just wanted to stop by and just give you a little bit of amour, or maybe I should say amor y besitos instead of amour y bisous. I appreciate all the time we spent together, and I know a lot of people suggested I should take the time off and have a real vacation, but I love my damn fun time, so I just cannot resist you. Hopefully, tomorrow's show will not have some freezes and interruptions because it will be a pre-record and not a live stream. So thank you for your patience today with the sound going off and me freezing like I just did there when I was moving. And now I need to end the stream. So I will say au revoir.